What's up, everybody? Dave here with another CONCACAF Champions League talk here on the Bros Talking Soccer YouTube channel. Tonight we got Tigres hosting Santos in leg one of the CCL semifinals. Right now it's just me, but we should have a couple people popping in and out of the stream as we go along here. Start things off, I always like to remind everybody this is not a stream of the match. We are just chatting about what's happening in the match. If you are watching in the US, it's available for free over on Yahoo Sports, so go check it out. It's available there. So yeah, so that's where we'll be watching, and on this stream we'll just be chatting about everything that is going on. Feel free to say hello, interact. I got the chat feature up here from YouTube, so we'll be monitoring that as we go along here. And overall, this should be just a fun time. So let me change some things around on my desktop. What do I want where? Nope, that's not what I wanted. And here we go. We got Blaze joining us here. Blaze, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, my man? How we doing?
Doing good, man. Thank you for stopping by. How's everything? Are you over on the East Coast?
I am in Rochester, New York.
Got it. All right. How are things there?
Home of the now defunct Rhinos.
I thought they still exist in some sort of zombie state. Aren't they playing either at the lower divisions, or aren't they coming back next year? What's the deal with them?
All right. So I'm not going to reveal too much because I was the director of the communications for the club in 2017, their very last season. And I have a lot of insight into what's truly going on that I'm saving for a multiple part podcast in the next couple months.
Got it. But okay.
Basically, what I will reveal is I don't think they're actually going to come back.
All right. Well,
they're said to be coming back in the USL League One for 2020, but it seems like unless they're actually going to get a free deal on a stadium, it's just not going to happen.
All right. That's obviously disappointing to hear because they have so much history. They're the last non-MLS side to win the Open Cup, I believe.
The only non-first division team to ever win the cup, 1999. I was there in Columbus, actually, as a 10-year-old. I was a diehard fan growing up for well over a decade. I was in the supporters section. And then when I was playing in college, I was even training with the club during summer times when I wasn't playing in the NPSL. So, I mean, and then I made it full circle being in their front office for their unfortunate final year. So yeah, I got a lot of connection to the club. But to be completely frank, I would rather see the club not exist in its current state under these owners than for the Dworkins to be running that club.
Yeah, that's obviously disappointing for, just as a fan, I'm sure that the owners have kind of put you guys in that position that it's almost like you'd rather see the club kind of cease to exist than exist under their ownership. But, man, I can somewhat relate, but, I haven't ever been in the exact same situation, but I feel for you.
Well, what's frustrating is that it's kind of like the story of Rochester. We've had so many big businesses and big opportunities here in this city that just because of single decisions, things haven't went our way. And, this could be one of the bigger cities in the U.S. I mean, we had Kodak who decided that, patenting digital technology wasn't really worth their time or effort. And, Xerox, we pretty much owned the paper industry. We were the largest producer of flour in the entire world at one point. We had this fast ferry that we spent $80 million on to go from here to Toronto, but then we never built the infrastructure here in Rochester or advertised it in Toronto, and that was gone in 2 years, and we took a $60 million hit on that. But more importantly, relating to soccer, we didn't get an MLS team here, even though we built the stadium for it, because of a difference of opinion in $6 million. And this was in the early 2000s. We had the agreement there. Everything was good. It was good to go. We started building the stadium, and then, the owners at the time, they couldn't agree. And look how much money it costs to enter the league now. I mean, it's in the mid to upper $200 million range to get a team now. So, yeah, another terrible decision. I'm guarantee you. Flamengo nearly scored. Yeah, I guarantee you that if we had this MLS team here in Rochester, the entire city as a whole would just be on another level.
I believe that. What's the so you said they started to build a stadium. Did they ever finish the stadium? Because I know their stadium situation right now is in is kind of what's causing some of the issues, right?
So the main problem with the stadium, according to dare I say it, the upper class and white privileged fan base, is that it's in a quote unquote sketchy location. It's in the inner city, and they say that it's entirely away from everything else. Yet there's a baseball stadium that's literally 3 blocks away, a 5-minute walk away, that, Frontier Field. They used to be the home of the Rhinos before they got the soccer-specific stadium. And they draw in 5-figure crowds for AAA baseball game pretty regularly, no problem. So, albeit the 3 blocks in between the stadium are not the most easy on the eye. It's pretty shady. I mean, yes, the crack houses do exist in between. However, it should not be an issue. The fans simply don't come out. But also, I see it more as just terrible ownership that has plagued this team. I mean, Rob Clark came in and quote, "Oh man, that's got to be a red." Yep, Gabigol's gone. Gabigol just he just went studs into the back of this dude's knee. He's definitely.
So you're watching Copa. What's your connection? Did you say you were a Flamengo supporter?
Yeah, I'm watching Flamengo and Peñarol now. I was actually in Brazil covering the World Cup for One Football TV over the summer. And yeah, I ended up going, wow, that's nasty. I went into maybe 10 Flamengo matches during my time there. Yeah, it was pretty easy to fall in love with the club. I mean, I've been at Champions League matches, Europa League matches, World Cup qualifiers, and the first Flamengo match I went to was actually on my very first day in Brazil. It was Vinicius Jr.'s very last game for Flamengo. So, and he announced that it would be his last game about 6 hours before the match started, and they were playing Paraná, who were relegated this year. I mean, they suck. So at the time, there's 40,000 extra tickets for this match. I don't know, maybe 30,000 extra tickets, and they sold the stadium out for that game. And shit, as a gringo, as a tourist who knew nothing about it, I mean, I got there about an hour and a half, 2 hours before, and I could not find a ticket for the life of me from a scalper. I didn't get into the game until halftime, but they were already up 1-0. I get in, and it was completely worth the wait. I've never seen such a passionate fan base going crazy, singing, chanting, all 60+ thousand fans in attendance. I mean, you talk about, supporter sections all over the world. The whole entire stadium is one giant supporter section down there.
That's awesome.
And it's men, women, children. It is everybody. And there's such a welcoming supporter base, too. I mean, I went there. I was there for 5-10 minutes. They could tell I wasn't from the country. I didn't speak any Portuguese. And, within 10-15 minutes, I had maybe 5-10 people teaching me all the songs, teaching me the chants, everything. It was beautiful. And it was so easy to become one with the club. Good save, keeper.
Wow, that's an awesome story. Real quick, so just wanted to fill people in. Oscar, hello. I see you're chatting over here. So hello. Looks like you're a Tigres fan. So that's awesome. Looks like we got an MLS officiating crew here. Matches started. Tigres has been on the front foot. They came out in 4-2-3-1, and Santos is in more of a 4-4-2 situation. So I just wanted to have those comments out there, and I'll kick it back over to you, Blaze, for any more details on being down in Brazil.
I mean, it was crazy. The first day I was in Brazil, when I read about Vinicius, announcing that it was his last match and everything, less than an hour later, I was 5 miles south of the stadium, south of the Maracanã, and it was just out of nowhere, like hundreds and hundreds of Flamengo supporters flooded the streets with drums, with trumpets, just going
because they were pumped that he was going to Real Madrid. Is that what they were just supporting that, or what?
It was more of a send off. Also, you have to keep in mind that it was the very last match before the Brasileirão took a month off for the World Cup. So it was almost like a rallying cry for
Brazil.
The team itself. I don't know if it was going to go down whether or not Vinicius made the announcement, but it was the last match before the month break. Just an unbelievable experience. But during the World Cup, it was incredible. The Brazil matches I would attend at one specific city center, crowds ranging from 50 to 100+ thousand people watching on a big screen. Vendors selling beers, mixed drinks for $1. I mean, people bringing their own instruments, signs, everybody wearing yellow. Just an incredible experience. I was so fortunate enough to report live from. I've just never ever felt such a love and passion of the game anywhere else in the world than in Brazil during those moments. And I also got to report live from different viewing parties for different South American countries at bars like Argentina and Peru, also Japan. And for those who don't know, the number one home for Japanese immigrants is Brazil. There's 2.5 million Japanese people living in Brazil, mainly in Sao Paulo. And conversely, the third most Brazilian immigrants in the world live in Japan, which is why you see a lot of Brazilian players. They will go over and play in the J League and the second division Japan.
It's fascinating. That's fascinating stuff, man.
Such an unbelievable experience.
Wow, that's really cool. We I just wanted to real quick jump in. So it looks like Drew joined us as well. Drew, this is Blaze. Blaze has the North and South American podcast. He's going to be, I think, we're going to interview you guys. I think next month, right, Blaze? But just wanted to. Drew's one of our listeners. We're working on a couple projects. He's got he's into Fantasy Premier League, and so he's working on some projects in that space. But just wanted to introduce you guys and just yeah, Drew, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. Happy to be back. Happy to be watching some CCL. Looks like Santos is playing a pretty high line and playing an offside trap. So we'll see if Tigres finds a way to break through that.
It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I haven't really laid eyes too much on the match other than the opening shot within the first 3 minutes. I'm still pretty focused on my Flamengo boys right now. It's 0-0 with Peñarol. They're in a really easy group in the Copa Libertadores. Regardless of the result, they should have no problem advancing. Flamengo have a reputation of being choke artists when they have great teams in these big competitions. Even in the Brasileirão, no matter what. But they signed every single transfer target, every single one in the offseason. They even have Rafinha from Bayern. He's going to come in the summertime. Currently, it's 0-0. They're down to 10 men. Gabigol got sent off in the 75th minute. This game's got about 7 minutes to go.
So we just had a goal in the Tigres match. So what happened was looks like they're giving it. It looked like Vargas may have been offside. So what happened was
offsides to me.
Yeah, Santos was playing a high line again and really good ball in over the top, direct, kind of straight over the top. I think it was into Valencia. I think it may have been somebody else, but Valencia gets a shot off in a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper. He makes a fantastic save, but then Vargas finishes things off. But it looked like Vargas was in front of the ball. Drew, what did you see on that goal?
To me, it looked like Vargas was in front of the ball when that was shot. Yeah. Looked like he was at least about a half yard or more.
And there's no VAR in CCL, correct?
To my knowledge, no. But the bigger thing that I think I noticed was that the line judge was way behind the play even as it was going on. So it really doesn't look like
he's a yard offside.
Yeah, it's not a good scenario for.
It looked like on the initial ball he may have been.
Yeah, the initial ball was off, and maybe even the second ball.
I would say the initial is tight, but the deflected shot, I'd definitely say was off. And I've lost connection to the stream. Great.
Yeah, I had to refresh. It looked like maybe the right back for Santos, who was on the near side of the field, may have kept the initial ball on. And that second with the Vargas, he was a lot closer than I thought. I thought he was clearly offside on first initial viewing, but it was much closer. And I don't know, when it's that tight, I'm okay with them letting it go. So on second viewing in slow-mo, I'm okay with that goal standing.
I don't know. I have to disagree there. I mean, there is definitely – it looked at least a yard off on the initial ball. I mean, I agree with you. The second ball was tight. But, I mean, there are two tight calls. This is why you have to have VAR in these major tournaments. I mean, Santos is already at a big disadvantage. I mean, Tigres are by far the favorite. I mean, you have two tight situations. One of those is definitely offside. There's no way both of them were onside, so you can't give the goal there. No way. Yeah, if I'm a Santos fan, I feel very hard done. Let's see if they can counter, though. I mean, Julio Furk is one of my favorite players in Liga MX. There's no Gignac tonight, so maybe they can actually pull an away result, but they need to play a very good game and to concede in the first 10 minutes, especially like that. It's going to deflate their egos and their confidence big time. I really feel for them.
Yeah, Drew, what do you think about the goal and the non-offside call?
Well, I was trying to see the replays, but my stream cut out the entire time, so I couldn't see the replays. But I'm going to say, I mean, I get that you want to keep play to continue, but I'm still going to say that line judge for that second one was way behind the play to make a proper call, which I still think was offside.
All right. Fair enough. What do you make of Santos playing that high line, Drew?
It is a very gutsy decision considering, I mean, they're away from home. I'd feel like you'd want to play a little bit deeper to try and break the lines later on in the game. Just kind of control the pace of the game a little bit more. But I don't know. I feel like Santos is throwing this game away by keeping a high line, especially away from home.
Blaze, what do you think about the high line?
Sorry?
What do you think about the high line?
I think it's a really bad strategy. I mean, Tuca Ferretti's side, they're so electric. They're so fast. And that, you play a high line like that against the Tigres side, and they have the ability to break it really, really early on in their play. So you play a high line like that, you could be looking at, several goals where it's a 2-on-0 situation like that. And Pennyroll gets their goal.
Looks like Bridger joined us as well. Bridger, what's going on, man?
Who's this new guy?
It's Blaze.
Who is this Bridger?
Yeah. What's happening? So yeah, we got Drew on. We have Blaze. Blaze is a host of the North and South American football podcast. And cool. Blaze, you also write or an editor for One Football. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm the editor, the U.S. editor for One Football.
I love that app, man.
Yo, thank you so much.
Best app in the world.
I work the European overnight shift for the app. I'm actually working right now and watching both the CCL match and Flamengo bottling this Libertadores match as well. The podcast.
Do you do that full time?
Excuse me?
Do you work for the app like full time?
Well, technically, it's one of those freelance full-time jobs. I work the same shift every night, about 4:30 p.m. to about 12:30, 1 in the morning. But yeah, I've been working this gig for just over a year. I'll do on-air stuff for One Football TV on occasion. Yeah, love the gig. People that I work with are really great. If you haven't heard of the podcast yet, it's called the NASA Football Podcast, short for the North and South American Football Podcast. I just had my last two podcasts have been U.S. We've had some U.S. men's national team interviews with Brian Ching and Yves Gullerstedt. Really good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That'd be a sweet thing to get into. I love that app. I would love to be able to do something like that. That'd be cool.
So what is the app?
What do you like about the app?
Bro, okay, so like one of the things that's great about the app is that it's not just like it goes for everything. Like I could even find out how like a 7th division English team is doing, as well as getting notifications. Like it's just like something you could never find like anywhere else. Like no matter where you go, it's like, yeah, I want to know how York City is doing down in the champ or the National League, and it's like no other app has it except for you guys.
National League North, thank you
just
very
awesome.
much.
Yeah, those guys.
National League North. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh, they went down again?
That's where they're at right now. They're playing in the 6th division.
So is it similar to
or is it the
FutMob
Vanarama?
in just scores? Do you have more content? So I'm not familiar with the app.
So I work just on the content creation. So all the scores and everything else, that's beyond me. I simply write stories for different teams every night. So it's a really personalized app depending on what your favorite team is. We have custom content. We have a partnership with a few websites such as Goal. We just partnered up with Manchester City actually.
Nice.
So we deliver content there's tons and tons of teams. Yeah, I mean, I love working for them. It's great. If you can go to the app, I'm going to bring it up right now. We have a lot of partners that we work with. So you set one favorite team and club team and one favorite national team, and we just deliver, whether it's through our partners or through us ourselves. personalized content. So you won't get any app notifications you don't want, and you can also follow certain teams.
Mhm.
And depending
So
on
like
whether
you pick a favorite team, but also can follow any team you want too as well.
yeah. So depending on whether you favorite the team or whether you follow the team, you're gonna get you're gonna get way more content for the teams that you favorite versus the teams that you follow. But you're still gonna get a really healthy dose of content no matter what. And we're not gonna overwhelm you with app notifications either.
Yeah. Like I'm a Bayern fan, and I get maybe 2 or 3 articles a day, but they're like pretty well spaced out, and it's always just kind of like something that's like there's almost something every day. Like it's just and it's either something new or just little rumors or anything. It's like it really keeps me informed. So like I'm always like knowing what's going on. So
Yeah,
Do you have
Bayern
MLS
is
too?
definitely. Sorry.
Do you do MLS too, or is it only
yeah.
European and like major leagues?
oh no, it's all leagues, every league.
Yep.
All right.
So
Like the
you
Japanese
definitely-
second division is in there. Swear to God,
Yeah.
like I follow like Hungshi Chaotang or something. I don't even know what their name is, but I favorited it because they have some like super old guy. He's like 50-something years old. He's like still playing. And I'm like, I gotta like keep this guy to see if he keeps going, you know? So I just like favorited him. And I get every now and then it's like, are you signed a 1-year contract? I'm like, yes, OneFootball. Thank you for letting me know. Keep that going.
Kazuyoshi Miura. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's super old.
He's 52 years old and he's still going at it.
Yeah, that's just nuts. He's like probably his kids are playing now. Grandkids are probably playing. So
yeah,
old.
he actually just signed a new deal in January.
I think OneFootball let me know.
Yeah, he's with Yokohama FC.
Yeah, I was way off on the name. Sorry, I was just making fun of it.
It's amazing that he actually was with the Japanese national team and he got almost 90 caps. But the last time he played for the national team was, I think, 19 years ago in 2000.
Oh my God.
He's still going. Hey, maybe he can get a call up. You never know. Just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some team in the USL, like the Las Vegas Lights, would probably swoop him up in a heartbeat, put him up next to Freddie Adu up top.
Hell yeah.
I think Freddie has moved on, unfortunately.
He's not there ananymore.
Yeah.
Though Freddie Adu left.
that's
He's at
such a
USL
snare.
League 1 now. Come on, OneFootball.
Is
Supposed to know this.
he still selling Hoover vacuums?
Oh, he's never gonna live that ad down.
Oh my God, that was so awful. And there's no way he made more than like $250 on that ad either.
He's got to make, he makes his money.
Was that like his club bang that he did?
Oh yeah, the club
So,
promoter.
you kind of cut out a little bit. What were you making fun of?
The
He was like a club promoter
Hoover
for a little bit.
vacuum.
Yeah, you could.
Oh wow.
Freddie Adu, he's got his Hoover vacuum in his apartment. It's not even like a stage ad. He definitely took like a selfie on his cell phone with his vacuum in like the most dreary looking apartment ever.
Oh my. I suck on the field and at home.
All right. Flamengo bottled it. Awesome. Typical Flamengo. Got CCL on the big screen now. All right. My buddy Mike Watts, who is our first.
Must be nice to have a big screen.
Mike Watts, he's actually the play-by-play guy for the game. He was on my first episode, or the first episode of the podcast. Great dude. He would be pissed at me knowing that I watch the Spanish broadcast of the CONCACAF Champions League.
So he's doing the Yahoo Sports stream?
Yes, and the only reason why I actually watch the Spanish one, two reasons. One, I use Fubo and it streams right through, so it's pretty easy. But also, for whatever reason, I have streaming issues with Yahoo. It always cuts out.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, what's your podcast called? Because I looked up NASA soccer podcasts and I'm not getting
it's
anything. At
called
least
the
on
NASA
YouTube, I'm not.
NASA Football Podcast.
I see what you did there. You made me look like an American.
Come on, man. You play with your feet. It's football.
NASA moon landing conspiracy theories podcast number 30. Well, I can't find you guys. Do you have any stuff on YouTube at all?
You can also look up the North and South American football podcast. That might.
Yeah, I'll do that. North and.
But we're not on YouTube, unfortunately.
Oh, you're not on YouTube. Oh,
No.
never mind then.
Yeah, we are on iTunes, Spotify,
Well, in that case, I'll find you guys.
all these ones, SoundCloud, Stitcher.
Well, I figured since we were already on YouTube, I'd find you.
That was an ambitious effort from Ener Valencia. He is 100% shooting from there.
So, what do you think about these Antonio Valencia to MLS rumors, guys?
Drew, what are you thinking about that?
I don't think it'll happen. I really don't.
I don't think he's offside there. You don't think it'll happen?
I don't think it will either.
Why would you want to leave the luxuries of what he's got for MLS, where he's probably not going to be able to play the same games?
Well, I don't think he's going to be staying at Man U either way.
No, I mean he's up on his contract. He's going to be 34 in August, and you can still. I mean, if you're going to be a big name, and then if he goes to Inter or anywhere else, he's not going to be a big name. He's probably not going to get game time. But if he goes to MLS, he's going to be treated like a superstar. He's going to make a pretty big contract, and the fans are going to love him. So there's a lot of upside for going to the MLS at almost 34 years old.
I don't know.
I don't know if he'd get that much publicity, honestly. Like, I don't think he's a well-known name big enough in America compared to mostly because he's obviously gone back to a defender now, and Man United hasn't been as good the last couple of years as well. So I just don't know if he would get the same publicity as even Nani didn't even get, or Nanny, however you guys want to say it. Nani didn't even get that much publicity. I didn't think they made it that big of a deal for it, and he's a huge name. He's a lot bigger than Antonio Valencia. Well, I just don't know if Valencia will get as much hype as everyone thinks he will.
Well, if he goes to the Red Bulls or New York City Football Club, great cross. What a save.
Damn.
Yeah, it's going to have to be one of the bigger boys, the better MLS teams, if he's going to want to get any recognition. But if he goes to like a middle or like a Philadelphia Union, or not Philadelphia Union, Philadelphia.
Watch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I after I said it, I was like, shit, shouldn't have said that. Triggered.
No, but not about the size of New York City Football Club or the New York Red Bulls. There is a huge Ecuadorian section of the nation in New York and New Jersey. So if you ever watch the attendance for U.S. Ecuador when they have that in New York, or anytime Ecuador plays in New Jersey, they draw a huge crowd. So, I mean,
that's any South American team in America. They always do better than American fans.
Yeah, that's true.
If you bring in an Antonio Valencia to the New York Red Bulls, you better believe you're going to bring in a lot of merch sales and a lot of new ticket holders.
Yeah, but it just feels like MLS even 1.0 or 2.0. Like maybe if he comes in on a lower level TAM deal, it might make sense. But at 34 years old, playing, I don't know, outside back or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just don't think it makes sense. Signing a designated player deal.
I think he'd just go back home. Play for like somewhere back in Ecuador or somewhere like maybe Brazil, somewhere more like South American, closer to home kind of thing. I just don't know if he'd go to, I don't know. I just don't see it.
Well, I just don't know if Red Bull would sign him. Like, I think he might enjoy it, but I don't know if either Red Bull or New York
enjoy
City.
being in MLS right now.
I don't know.
Hell, I'd like to be there. I'm on my couch.
Yeah, he would fit the system of Emelec pretty well. Oh my God, what a save!
Lovely.
Did anybody else hear that? When he went, buzzing? Oh my! And then I heard like a don. I thought it was like bleeping him out. Dude just censor himself. You weren't like a beep. You were a dong dong dong. I was like,
Someone,
I think it's a
someone,
phone buzzing.
Someone's phone's a buzzing.
I wish my phone buzzed. Actually, my dad just called me. I hung up on him.
Yeah, Daniel, I
Dad
think,
talking with the bros.
yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It looks like Santos is really starting to come alive in this match after Tigres was really dominating. Oh, and as I say that, you were a couple seconds ahead of us, and just like that,
What a
Tigres
golazo.
takes the 2-goal lead. Great cross in Valencia. Just
I'm
pretty,
still waiting.
pretty simple header.
No
Thanks,
Gignac,
guys.
no problem.
Yeah. What's his deal? Has he
Wow.
been injured?
Yeah, is
he's
he injured?
a little hurt. They've been taking it pretty easy with him. He missed the first leg last round because they wanted to take it easy. He's just been having a lingering injury that he's showing up for big matches, and then when they face lower quality opposition or they're playing the Copa MX, he's taking it easy. So
Is it an age thing? Is it just managing his reps, or is he injured?
no, he's hurt.
Okay. And that's just way too easy. I mean, quality of Enter Valencia, just easy cross, no pressure on the cross, no real pressure on Valencia, even putting off his run in any way. That's just a poor defending from Santos there. Great execution from Tigres.
That's a great ball.
Yeah.
Heads it down, hits off the ground, goes in.
Yeah. Clinical.
Just, pass, head, in, goal, money made.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's tough to see Santos bouncing back from this. I know it's a long series.
Never say never.
Yep, but I don't know. Just Tigres, like Blaze, you were saying earlier. Tigres just the overwhelming favorite and getting the benefit on that first goal with the offside call and this.
Oh man, he's so open on the right wing. Yeah, but I was talking to my producer before the show or before the match, and I was saying 3-1, 4-1 Tigres. I mean, give Santos credit. They could have scored twice.
Yeah.
They had a couple good opportunities. A couple of minutes ago. But Guzman, he's an underrated keeper. I mean, he's 33 years old. He's been with the national team in Argentina. He's been coming up with he's been really, really good this year. Easily the second, third best goalkeeper in Mexico. No doubt about it.
It was the Santos keeper in the Rebels game that played out of his mind. Orozco in the first leg against Rebels in New Jersey. How's he been? I don't follow Liga MX too closely. Has he been one of the better ones, or did he just have a great game?
I mean, he had a great match. Santos, they're not even in the Liga places right now. They're still 4 points out of the playoff race with 5 games to play in the regular season. What's crazy about that match was Santos had to miss their flight due to weather, so they only got into New York about 24 hours before the game started. And I firmly believe that Red Bulls, they would come out really strong, and they would have to take their opportunity really early if they want to be in that tie. And I mean, they played great, but yeah, they were stymied time and time again.
Turn up your phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a nice little interchange there. It looks like the defender getting his body in between the players, and then he's fine. Landed a little bit hard on the hip, but
sorry guys, I think that was actually me vibrating. I've turned it.
No worries.
By the way, your name's pretty dope.
Yeah, I've heard that a time or two. Much appreciated.
If you ever go on a plane, you'll be blazing up.
Sorry, you're cutting in and out.
I said if you were ever on a plane, you'd be blazing up. It wasn't a very good joke. You didn't have to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to college once, so I've heard everything.
Blaze. Blazer. Laser. Taser. Razor. Janice. Or, sorry, Michelle.
And
Anybody else see that
Ivana?
keeper was way out of the box when he kicked that? I know I'm a little behind, but he was way out.
Behind on the times.
I'm gonna step out for a few minutes. I just gotta write a few articles real quick.
All right, man.
Don't
The
like
struggle.
minute.
Oh my God! You mute your microphone.
Hello.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Who are we talking to?
Muy bien.
¿Y tú?
Who needs
Well,
to mute the
anyway,
mic, or-
so guys, I haven't been around for a while.
Yeah, I know.
I've been pretty busy.
What have you been up to?
Then
Man, I have girls' season started, and then I was supposedly gonna get this full-time PE job here in the town that I'm coaching at right now. Well, as of now, it doesn't look like that's happening. It looks like they're gonna give it to someone else. So that basically means like I'm on the prowl right now to try to find a new full-time teaching job. So I'm like super freaking busy right now with trying to schedule interviews and get interviews and find openings and talking to people. And because I've been coaching at the school for 3 years, right?
Mhm.
This PE job is finally opened. I was one of the first people to apply for it. They haven't even, this was 2 weeks ago. They haven't even emailed me to schedule an interview, and they've already started interviewing people. And they haven't even emailed me to even schedule a interview. And I've been coaching at the high school. This is an elementary school in the same school that I've been coaching in this high school. It's my 3rd year now with the girls team. So I've been a coach at the high school for 3 years, and I haven't even gotten an email asking me to interview for this job yet. And it's like, what? And a girl who has been at Warrensburg, Missouri. So like we're central. So like she's about 2.5 hours away, right? She doesn't coach there, nothing. Hasn't been in Fulton for like 2 or 3 years. She's been off at this other school or at Warrensburg. She just graduated doing her student teaching in Warrensburg. I did my student teaching in Fulton and with one of the people that like is kind of a part of the like hiring process. And she just got interviewed today for it. And we applied on the same day. And I haven't even got an email.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, no,
Man.
I'm really pissed off because the school has, and what's even worse too, and I don't want to bring this all up, but I mean, technically you kind of have to, but I'm a male. This entire school that I applied for has no male teachers in the entire school district. They don't even have male faculty. The janitors are females in this building. No males at all in the entire building. And they like, I don't want to say it's like sexist, but I mean, it kind of is because I'm a male. I applied. I don't even get an email back. Yet this girl just interviewed today and she hasn't even been here for years. And it's like, what? Like, why am I not even getting like at least email me saying we don't like you. Don't like apply somewhere else.
Yeah, that is
like
frustrating when you don't. Yeah, you don't.
I don't want to pull you're a bunch of sexist ladies, but I mean, don't make it so darn obvious. Like, at least be like, yeah, we'll interview you, and then like not even give me like at least give me the interview. Like I've been checking my emails, and the funny thing too is I have a school email. So technically, if you go to hire a job, schools always do this. They look for someone else first because they always look for someone like people that are already working there. Like, hey, would you like to be the PE teacher? Like maybe, and they're like, no, and it's like, all right, we'll bring in someone new now, right? Be a more qualified candidate. What is CMSU? Central Missouri? Be a more qualified candidate. Oh, don't worry, Marcus. I'll tell you why I am here in a second. So anyway, so what was I saying? Crap, Marcus, way to get me off my game. What was I saying?
You were talking about
What was I saying?
they were looking in-house. You would look in.
Oh yeah, so they always look in-house first, right? Well, technically, since I've been coaching at the high school for 3 years, I'm already an in-house employee. I'm already employed by the school district because I have been working for the school. As soon as you receive a paycheck from a school district, from school, you're an employee of that school district. So technically, I'm an in-house employee. Even though I'm just a coach, I'm still an employee of the school district. So before she even went and started interviewing people, I should have been one of the first people. Now, obviously, they usually say in-house as in the same building, right?
Yeah,
But
we
because
just had another goal here, Bridger.
well, it's like I said, I'm way behind. Like we're just now getting to the crosses part. I'm sorry, I'm going on a little rant right now.
No worries.
Dude, this is like
you gotta let it out,
I've
man.
been coaching here for 3 years, and I'm getting screwed over by a bunch of chicks at an elementary school right now. And I'm just getting PO'd about it because now I've got to start applying to a bunch of different schools. I have to move. Like, I'm not ready to move. I've been in the same apartment for 4 years now.
Come to
And it's like,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear
you
that,
give me
man.
a teaching job, I'll move.
So on that goal, the initial ball out wide was that guy offside or no? Are we just looking for offside on every single play now? Drew, did you happen to see?
Oh no, he wasn't offsides.
No.
He looked okay.
Okay.
No, he was fine. He was perfectly fine. There was a guy
All right.
marking number 33 in the back post, and he kept him on, way on.
Got it. Okay. And
This
then
has
also
just been poor defending by Santos.
Yeah, on the first goal, they just showed a replay again over the last few minutes, and I will concede that on the initial ball, that dude was definitely offside. So that first goal should not have stood.
Oh, the first
retract.
goal 100% was off.
I'm going to retract my opinion from earlier that I thought it was closer. It was not.
The thing is, Santos let it get to their head, man. As soon as they conceded that first goal, they instantly just were like complaining about it. They've lost all focus. Like the complete back line has been terrible with these balls in. They have not been marking at all. No one's going up and winning them. They're leaving too much space. I mean, you have one of the most dangerous guys in Central and North America playing against you, and you don't think to mark him? Like, what are you doing?
Nope.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also this. So clearly, what Tigres is doing is having either the wingers or somebody check back to the ball, and then they're having one of the midfielders running behind, and Santos just is not coping with it whatsoever. And that's how they've been able to get in behind on a number of instances. And that's also how they've been able to break the offside trap. And Santos just isn't adjusting.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to reply to Mark Gonzalez in my thing right now. One.
That's really frustrating, though, Bridger. Hopefully, you get it sorted out.
Yeah, and it's funny too because the problem with that also is if you don't give me the job, now I have to leave, which also opens up 2 more coaching positions that the AD is now going to have to hire. So, because I'm the boys' assistant and the girls' assistant, so that's 2 more openings that the AD is having to fill in, and it's already been tough enough for them to find coaches in other sports, let alone soccer, which is like impossible to find coaches for in Fulton.
Yeah. Oh, there's one way to defend. Just absolutely take him out off the ball.
Yeah, heck yeah. Boom.
Jesus. Yeah, Santos, it looks all out of sorts right now.
This game could become very, very ugly.
Yeah. They're showing the wrong replay. This is
Marcos. Let's talk about the game. No, Marcos, you got me into this. I'm gonna let you know. We will talk to the game. I haven't talked to these guys in a while, man. I've missed you guys. I'm going through a lot right now. I'm very lonely.
We've missed you as well. Yeah, the game, Marcos, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on CONCACAF Nations League? Does it help or hurt? I think it helps. Personal opinion, I've never been a huge fan of meaningless friendlies. Even if it's against weaker opposition for the stronger teams, it's still more competitive matches. And especially for the mid to lower tier CONCACAF nations, I am all for it. I think it's going to be great for them. Drew, any thoughts on the CONCACAF Nations League?
I like it, but I kind of am curious to see now, does that basically eliminate all sorts of friendlies now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Or Or as in,
Yeah.
like, let's say, like, the U.S. will never play, like, England or, like, play, like, other domestic team, like, other international teams?
Yeah,
Or
it's going to be very infrequent just because, I mean, UEFA has their own Nations League, and then they have qualifying for Euros, qualifying for the World Cup. So it's a similar situation with the U.S. now.
I think it might be a bad thing as it is a good thing at the same time, if you catch my drift on that question there. Because I'm kind of feeling like it's going to destroy some of what they're trying to build, like, like, okay, so let's say Messi's coming in to play a friendly with the US, or other big players. I think it helps the pool a little bit, but I don't know by how much, because it is a true competition, but at the same time, I mean, the level of competition isn't, I guess it is kind of on par with the US right now, but I don't really know how much that's going to progress them, because I feel like you need to play a lot tougher of opposition to actually progress a lot more.
So I agree with that, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know if it's better to play a surging Canadian squad in a meaningful competition for the U.S. I'm speaking about the U.S., for example, versus an Ecuador kind of like rebuilding side or something like that, or a Chile side that's sort of in between. I mean, I don't know what's better. And at the end of the day, I still think we're all headed, CONCACAF and CONMEBOL are headed to some sort of merger or partnership or something where they're going to be playing a lot more often. And I think it just makes sense for both confederations. And I ultimately think the Caribbean nations split off and form like an Oceania type confederation. But that's how I see all of this playing out. Bridger, what do you think about the Nations League?
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I would always like because obviously it's going to make us around here, like around our pool of, not pool, sorry. It's going to cause more important games with nations that are closer to us, and it's obviously going to make CONCACAF better. But I do kind of get what Drew was saying, that we kind of might miss out on a kind of those big revenue, big name player kind of games that tend to get a lot of people there, and also see how the USA is going to be able to play against, like an Argentina or a Brazil or an England or a Belgium or Germany or something like that. So I kind of feel like we do miss out on all of that. And there's also a lot of money in those games, because a lot of people want to see not only just the USA, but they want to see Germany. They want to see the Netherlands, like Brazil, all those guys. So I feel like we just kind of miss out a little bit on that. But overall, I think a competition within our own nation is only going to make us better, and it's going to put a little bit more focus and importance in those games. So
yeah, I agree. We got some good comments coming in now. So Marcos was saying, what's the value of friendlies? Bacon Nuts responded that it gives you the opportunity to develop and explore players and find squad depth. Yeah, Bacon Nuts is he's been in our chats before, so I'm used to that name. But if that's the first time you're seeing it, that was my
sorry.
reaction.
That is brilliant.
Well. Yes.
I had to mute my mic. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries. But no, so Bacon Nuts, I think with a competition like the CONCACAF Nations League, I think you can do that. You can develop and explore players and find squad depth, because theoretically the level of competition isn't quite, as high as it would be if you were playing, a more meaningful competition. The other thing I like about it is that you can captive players in a nation like the U.S., which is constantly fighting with other nations for dual nationals. This is just another competition to hopefully expand the player pool by locking players in. So I like that aspect as well. Drew, any thoughts on that?
I guess my question would be, though, is there really that many dual nationals right now that really are a target?
Yeah,
or at least
tons.
Which, I mean, like right now, like, can you name a handful right now that are dual nationals that need to be captied?
Who's that kid for Arsenal right now?
Yeah, I mean,
he's a youth Arsenal player.
Balogun. Yeah, Balogun is his last name. I mean, Efrain Alvarez, who looks like he's leaning towards Mexico. I mean, technically, Timothy Weah isn't cap tied. We constantly have players that flip quickly. Sergino Dest, a young up and coming Ajax player, can represent the Netherlands, and there's a lot of other players that are in that similar situation that are up and coming. Conrad De La Fuentes, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's playing with the U20s right now, and he's only 17 years old, but he's with the Barcelona Academy. And he can represent Spain as well. And so these players, yes, they're playing for U.S. national teams right now, but things can change very quickly. We've seen the Jonathan Gonzalez situation, and I think, it can only be better to
Don't mention his name.
cap-tie players.
Now help me understand this. Can you not be cap-tied if you're playing in a youth?
No,
it has to be a first team like official match.
But what happens?
It can't be a friendly. It has to be like a original.
I thought it locked them
match.
down where they can only do a one-time switch.
Yeah. So yeah, it does if they play in an official competition. So you can play in friendlies with any national teams or whatever. But if you play in a U20 World Cup, if you play in a U17 World Cup with a nation, if you want to play for another nation after that, then you need to file a one-time switch. And I believe it needs to be for a country that you already have citizenship with. So if you play in a
Anthony Robinson do that?
Yeah, is he cap-tied? He might be another one.
He did. I thought a one-time switch.
Oh, okay.
I'm back. It's either citizenship or you can have lineage to your grandfather. If your grandfather has citizenship, then you're allowed to play for that nation, even if you've never even been in that nation before.
Is that everywhere, or is that just in certain countries? Because I feel like U.S. immigration rules are different than European ones. I feel like it depends
I'm not sure about that, but I definitely know that's the case in Europe.
Yeah, I think it depends on the country because it varies wildly. Because isn't like Qatar just like nationalizing Brazilians left and right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my grandpa is like 1/4 American Samoa, so I'm going to be their new national team striker.
There you
Have you guys ever seen that documentary?
I don't know
about American Samoa.
I can't say that I have. I don't know where this is going.
You've never seen that? Oh, the American Samoa national team is it's one of our islands that I guess America kind of forgets about that we technically kind of own. And they're like the worst nation in the world. Like they lost like 33-0 to Australia like a long time ago.
Oh, it's 31. No, I actually just looked this up. It was 31-0. That came up on the podcast this past week, our podcast. Yeah. So it was 31-0. Yeah.
So it's 31-0. And like they did this documentary called Next Goal Wins. And this USA coach, I can't remember his name now. He's like a Dutch American coach. And he like went and trained them for like, I don't know, like a little over a month to like get them ready for their World Cup qualifying. And they actually like won a game. And then they drew a game. And then they lost a game by like 1 goal. They totally got screwed over. If you watch the documentary, they get screwed in these World Cup qualifying games. And they wound up not qualifying for the next round of the World Cup. But they won a game, which was like the first time in I think it was like maybe their first ever. No, it was their first ever win. So it was their first ever win. Margot DeBoer was their coach, JK. But he anyway, it's a really, really cool documentary. And actually, in the documentary, the first ever transgender like player plays in a World Cup qualifying match. It's because I guess in American Samoa they have a third gender. It's like part of their culture, and like she plays. And I just thought it was like it's a really cool documentary. And you can get on YouTube for like, I think it's like $2 or $3. You could either buy it or rent it. I actually bought it. So like I have it. I watch it every now and then. It's really kind of inspirational because they really suck. And then they win a game. So it's like yeah, Fulton can do, or the team that I'm coaching right now, they can do that. I didn't mean to name drop them, but.
So I actually have a funny story about that kind of situation. So back in my my college days, I knew that I loved the game. I don't come from much. I really, really love the game. And I was considering very seriously after my college days to move to one of these smaller island nations.
Dude, yes, me too.
Play
like
for
Lee
5
Win, right?
years. Yeah, and play for 5 years in order to get FIFA naturalized and play in these World Cup qualifiers. I mean, shit. If I had moved to Tahiti, I might have been able to play against Spain,
Dude, I was thinking the same thing, man. I am not even joking. I was like, I could honestly like work at one of these schools as like I could go get a job in like Samoa
Fiji.
or Fiji, somewhere like that. Get a job teaching there and coaching soccer and like keep myself like fit. and then possibly play for Fiji internationally. Like I have always thought about that. I'm glad I'm not the
Still
only one.
time.
Yeah,
Dude,
Bridger,
I
you're
am.
still
I'm
young,
only
man.
24. What's it
You
take?
could
Like
be
6 years
30.
to get nationalized, or
I think
5
it's
years?
Five
5
years.
by FIFA.
Oh man, I'd be
Now's your
29. That's like prime.
Now's your chance with the move.
Yes,
Yeah,
I will
I
have the
am
knees.
not 24 anymore. So but if I did this today, I mean, I have a remote job, so I could technically pull it off. But by the time the 5 years would come, I'd be almost 35. So,
Dude, you know how cool of a documentary that would be?
I
In a
know.
story that'd be like I could literally start it off like me in my living room and be like, all right, guys, this is day one.
Bridger,
I'm
I
finding
mean,
jobs, and I'm gonna get it published, and all of a sudden it could be my road to the World Cup or something. Like I don't even know.
Bridger,
Well,
is this a sign, man? Your job, didn't work out at the high school you're working for. I think this is a sign, man. I think
I'm
I thi-
moving to Tahiti.
this
I
is
got nothing going
exactly-
on. I got like 80 grand worth of college debt. I'm heading out the country. I'm getting out of here.
Come find me.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is a
come
quarter
find me, IRS.
if I've ever heard one.
Next thing you know, I'm gonna be scoring goals for American Samoa.
Yeah, but mind you,
arrested right in the middle of the game.
you have to sign for a club. That's day
Hey, no
one.
youth. I already know the teams in American Samoa. No joke. I looked it up, dude. I was legit. Like I was probably a little bit more into it than you were. I know all about it, dude. They even have a. This is true. They have a South Korean Baptist church is one of their teams in their league. Oh my god, I'm pulling it up right now. American Samoa.
All right. Well, Bridger's looking that up. Daniel's got a question. When should Frank DeBoer and Atlanta fans be worried? Who's that? Blaze, you follow MLS at all?
Yeah,
When do you think?
They should be worried about 3 weeks ago. He is so stubborn with his fucking 3-4-3 system, and obviously doesn't work. And he doesn't
Best
speak
formation
Spanish.
ever.
It's not working. He needs to get out. Like it's not a matter of if, but when. And if he's still around in June, I'll be stunned. Like you need a Spanish manager there. That's the only way that team is going to feel unified. Because I mean, you can't have I mean, it happens everywhere else, but in a place like Atlanta where they're already used to. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that have been there since day one, and they're used to having that contingency with a bilingual manager that can converse with everybody. And you bring a guy like that in, he's a big name and all that, but shit, he doesn't know MLS. He's proved that on multiple occasions. He doesn't know his players. He doesn't know the language. I mean, it is just a nightmare situation over there, and it's not getting better.
So I disagree just slightly, just because MLS is a league, or just any managers, and especially one where you're trying to implement a completely new culture, it takes time. And so for me, and especially in MLS, they expanded the playoff pool. Atlanta still has enough talent to come top 7 in the East. And as long as they make the playoffs, anything can happen. Like Marcos correctly pointed out, I mean, Seattle was absolutely terrible and then went on a run. I think that was 2 years ago. DC United was god-awful last year and then, went on a run and started putting the pieces together. I say they need to wait at least 12 matches in. If they're near the bottom of the table in the Eastern Conference, then they can start to freak out. But I'm not convinced that they need to panic yet. But that's just my opinion. Bridger or Drew, either of you guys have opinions here?
Go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna let you go first.
Oh, all right, I can go. I'm kind of in my American Samoa brain right now. I gotta learn the haka. No, so with that, yeah, I kind of agree a little bit with you, Dave. But then again, I also agree with Blaze. So the reason why is because this is a team that's had so much success. Like they want to keep going with that. Obviously, they don't want to. I don't think they're gonna give him enough time because they are. They've invested a lot of money in the squad. They've bought players for quite a bit of money, so I don't think they're gonna give him as much time as he possibly needs. But then again, like you said, I think with him trying to change the culture a little bit there, I think he is going to need more time. I just don't think Atlanta's going to give him the time that he wants because obviously whenever he came from Ajax, he grew up in that system, so it was very familiar for him. So obviously him coming into being the manager, it made a lot of sense for him because that's all he's known. Obviously he played at Barcelona as well, but then it's shown that when he went to Inter Milan, it didn't really work out, and then Crystal Palace, it really didn't work out, and then we're seeing again here in Atlanta that it's just not working out again. So I don't think they're going to give him the time. I think he'll be sacked midseason. Yeah, but then again, they still have, like we've said this before, that MLS is one of those seasons where you can start off really, really shitty, but you still have plenty of time to get back into the playoffs and possibly contend for the title. So,
and that's why they need to do it right now. I mean, you're not talking about a team that needs to be developed. These are the defending champions. You just brought in Pity Martinez, which he could have easily went to one of the better sides in Europe. You land him, and you should be centering your team around the Martinez's. Man, and it seems like all the pieces are there, and they've done everything right, and then they throw a wrench into the whole plan by signing De Boer, just because of his name. It's a signing that just doesn't make sense. He's good at developing players, at Ajax, like you said, but Atlanta in MLS, they don't need to be developed. They are already there. And they need to keep the form going. So I think it's a horrendous hire, and I hope that Arthur Blank and the gang, are quick to realize this, and they notice how bad they did in CONCACAF Champions League, and they got to make a switch. They just got to do it sooner rather than later.
Drew, thoughts?
Fire Frank De Boer.
Hire Jose Mourinho. Dude, he got linked with the Bayern job recently, and I'm freaking out.
That
was just a bullshit rumor. Don't worry about it.
I hope not.
I'm going to say there are a lot of legs to that rumor. That is not as bullshitty as it sounds. And when Mourinho was actually asked about it about either yesterday or 2 days ago, and he did not deny it. He says he definitely wants to go to another country and win another top country and win honors. And the only two major countries he hasn't won in is France and Germany. And he's been linked with a couple jobs in League One, and shit, Bayern would make a lot of sense.
No, it wouldn't.
Stop. Don't let them know.
It would not make a lot of sense.
Why wouldn't it make sense, Drew?
Oh, why would Bayern want to hire a coach that plays extremely defensive when they're currently trying to build a youth team and spending money on players that are more offensively minded? I mean, they bought Lucas Hernandez. They're looking at De Ligt. They bought Alphonso Davies. They have Sergi Gnabry, who I think has become a phenomenal player under.
He's been amazing.
Nico.
He's been like our best player.
Which is why I don't understand why people are even thinking Nico's going to go. I mean, at this point, the league's not even done yet. There's still plenty of games left to go.
Yeah. We're still in for the cup. I mean, today was a crazy ass game. I didn't even get to watch it. I was substitute teaching today. Shut up, Marcos. I don't like this guy, man. Why is he attacking me?
I mean, the thing is, if you look at
Pity Martinez has failed big time. That's definitely not the case. Atlanta has been failing Pity Martinez.
I wouldn't say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yes, guys, attack Blaze.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
No. So I'd agree with Blaze that Pity has not failed. It's what are they, 5 matches into the season with CCL? It's close to 10. You cannot see a player or a manager, in my opinion, has failed until this point. They need to be given. So that's just my opinion on this situation. I might be out on my own little floating island, floating off into the distance, but that's where I stand on that.
Island.
You're going to Fiji again.
Yeah, I'm floating off to Fiji. I'll see you guys later.
There you go. Enjoy your ride. Don't hurt yourself.
I was able to get a Fiji scarf. It is most certainly not a soccer scarf, but it was incredibly cheap. And
Well, yeah. When do they need scarves there?
I know, but
We got a gust wind of 79 degrees tonight. Put that scarf on. Don't want to catch a cold. It's going to be lower than 80 today, guys.
But yes,
With
Bayern
that
will
wind
be
chill, it's actually going to be
fine.
very humid.
But I think PT is failing. That's just me.
I don't know how you can say that.
Because like I'm watching him play and it just doesn't seem like he's
Maybe it's DeBoer's
he's
system.
connecting to this. I mean, it might be the system. It might also be just the way that PD plays. I mean, it just doesn't seem like he's distributing the ball properly. He just keeps seeming like he's missing that final third movement.
Because he's on a new team in a new country.
But I wouldn't say that. I would also say it's not even just the formation. It's that I think other teams already understand how to properly defend it. I mean, all you have to do is just let Joseph Martinez just try and run around like a crazy man with his head cut off and just defend him. I mean, that's what they're trying to feed. I mean, that's what they did last year. I mean, teams are just finally realizing how to properly handle the system.
Philadelphia.
I mean, that's just me. I mean, I just think that personally that I think Atlanta's just been figured out. Whether or not it was DeBoer, whether or not it would have been Tata, I think the team would have been figured out. Because I mean, you look at that back line. I mean, I'm sorry, but Parkhurst is getting a lot older. You have to realize that team is aging.
Yeah,
in certain spots where it's a problem, and the acquisitions that they brought in just don't make a lot of logical sense.
Wait, so I disagree. I think if Tata is there with this same squad, I think that they're much better than they are right now. I think if they're playing a flat four, you bring in Miles Robinson instead of Parkhurst, and you sort of have a four in the back system. I think that they're functioning much better. I do agree Parkhurst is getting older, but again, I don't think Atlanta has been figured out. They're trying to implement a completely new culture and completely new system, and lost their best player, or at least their most influential player, and replace them with a guy who's different, and they're trying to do a new system. So I don't know. That's where I stand on all of this.
I don't care if it's the first game of the year. There's no way a team of that quality should be losing 3-1 to Herediano. Absolutely not. Like, that was beyond embarrassing. And you could tell within the first 30 minutes. I mean, just look at the players' faces when they're on the field. They're uncomfortable. And when you're not comfortable, you can't get in a rhythm.
But they came back and won 4-0. Like, MLS teams always struggle on the road in CONCACAF Champions League, regardless of whether it's Mexico or Costa Rica, Panama. Yeah, with Toronto. I mean, they always sort of struggle on the road. And so, yeah, they didn't look great against Herediano. I was very worried, but then they came back and won 4-0. And then against Monterrey, Monterrey did well and was the better side overall, but they didn't get completely run over against Monterrey, who's arguably the best team in this, in North America, along with Tigres. So again, and MLS is such a weird animal, especially early in the season. They've dealt with a absolute monsoon in Columbus this past week. Philly, was able to nick a draw with them. Again, I'm not willing to write off Atlanta completely.
Dude, no, someone told me to do that, Benjamin, but I'm not going to because I'm not petty.
All right. Let's stick on the soccer front.
We got to get away from that. Sorry, I just saw that and I was like, yes.
I don't know. So it looks like I'm the only one feeling this way, but I'm going to stick by my thoughts there on Atlanta.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, you 2 draws, 2 losses. One of your draws was against a brand new team who, I mean, has impressed thus far, but it's not like they're, anything impressive.
Afili made them look ordinary.
Philly's actually looking a lot stronger than what I think a lot of
Philly
people
looks a little better than I thought they were going to. So
yeah. And after all that trash talk that I heard the Knittel brothers saying about how they hate the coach, now they're all of a sudden, I love
all right, I never said I hated the coach. It was the Harris Medunjanin situation. They've been creating chances all year. They just are actually finishing now. So I don't want to make this a union thing, but I'm excited over these last few weeks.
No, I mean,
are you guys based in Philly?
I'm from Philly. I live in California in San Jose now, but I'm from Philly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I travel to Philly almost every month. I still have yet to take in a union game, but I think this is going to be the year.
All right, you should come down. So it's funny, you were mentioning the Rochester Stadium situation. It's a very similar situation for the Union down in Chester. So they play down in a city 12 miles south of Philadelphia that's very kind of rundown, dilapidated, crime and all of that. And it's not in the greatest area. It's a very picturesque scene right underneath the bridge, but around it there's not a whole lot going on. So that's been a huge issue. But yeah, definitely. If you go down, I'm actually coming back to Philly in a week, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. So if you happen to be there in 2 weeks, hit me up.
I hear lunch date.
I will be there on the 19th. I'm a big Southampton supporter, and we're doing a first annual U.S. fan meetup in New York City on the 20th. So I'll be there. My girlfriend, who I met while I was in Brazil, she lives in Philly now. So I'm going back and forth quite often.
Nice. Did you say you'll be there on the 19th?
I will be there on the 19th.
All right, yeah. The Union play on the 20th. I'm going to the match. They play at home. No, they play Dallas this weekend. Who the hell are they playing? But yeah, I'll be going to the match. And Drew, you're kind of in the Philly area as well, right?
That I am, good sir. That I am.
Yeah.
I'm in Missouri.
They play. Who do they play? They will play Montreal. Oh man, those are Rochester's old rivals back in the A-League days. Actually, Montreal. Yeah, we have a couple choice songs for that. So yeah. Oh, that's at 1 p.m. though. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to make that. The Southampton Newcastle match is gonna be right around then.
Got it.
You're gonna miss a live match for a one on TV?
No, fucking yeah. If it's the Union, yes.
Oh, that's fair enough. We haven't earned any sort of respect yet, so I can't.
Put some respect on my name.
Wait, have you guys won a playoff match yet?
Nope, no playoff wins. 3 Open Cup final losses. I was in person for 2 of them. Damn, that guy's got some pace. Santos player pulling away from Vargas.
I knew the answer to my question, by the way.
Oh my god, that was
red
lovely.
Red card.
Did somebody ask a question? What was that?
I said I knew the answer to that question.
Oh, you did? All right. You're just being a dick. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm just being a dick.
No worries.
Sorry. It's on my throat.
Damn, that was a hell of a run by the winger there from Santos. 11?
Wait, who is that? I moved away from the screen, but I saw the end of the run. I think that was Marlos Moreno. Yeah, that was okay. So Marlos Moreno, who just made the run. So that guy played at Atlético Nacional. He was on. He made a couple appearances for the Colombian national team, I believe. He was sold to Manchester City a few years ago for about 6 million euros.
I remember him.
Really huge talent. Then he goes out on loan because he is obviously not going to play for them. He goes out on loan to Deportivo La Coruña. Doesn't score a goal. Like I'm looking at the Wikipedia now, like 23 matches. Then he goes to Girona for the first half of the season. Doesn't score a goal in 4 matches. Then he goes to Flamengo for all last year. I saw him in person. In 36 games, he scores 1 goal. So he went over 2 full years and 3 different teams before scoring a single goal in any competition.
Facts.
Better than me.
Yeah. And then for Santos, he's only scored twice, and his only 2 goals in 10 games have been against, I believe, Marathon, when they blitzed them like 11-2 or whatever. Of course,
is it just his final product, isn't there? Because, I mean, that was a lovely run. Is it that? Is it something else?
So
does he play up top or wing?
So think of Marlos Moreno as like an Adama Traore.
Oh, okay.
With a little less pace.
And a little less bulk. He doesn't look like an NFL running back out there.
Didn't Adama Traore, was that tall? No, that's Lacuna Traore, who went on loan to Everton.
Yeah,
no, out of like a tree.
Yes.
Villa looks
The
like the
guy
tree from Lord of the Rings where they fight or whatever.
I still have never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God, what am I doing on this thing?
I
I
haven't
know.
seen it either, actually. I've never
Don't
watched
connect
Star
anymore.
Wars. I've never watched Lord of the Rings. I've never really. I don't watch superhero movies either. I've never really
You
floated
live in
I'm
myself.
a
my
hole.
own superhero.
What
I
the
don't
hell
need
were
to
we
watch
talking
movies
about?
about myself.
We were
Okay.
talking about Marlon Moreno.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. So Adama Traore is where the hell is he? Palace? He's somewhere in the Prem now. He was a former Barcelona academy product. He was so
Oh,
incredibly
I thought that dude was at Aston Villa.
No, Traore's
Nah.
over at Wolves.
Wolves. Okay, yeah, but he's like
Mm.
absolutely jacked. He's incredible like one-on-one situations, but his decision making isn't there, and his final product isn't there. So like,
I disagree with the decision making part because he can make the right decisions, but he cannot make the accurate pass. Like he just has concrete boots. Like he sees the open guy and he just can't make the pass. He's just bad at passing and bad at crossing. Which if you're a winger, you're not gonna get very far.
and
But
no,
he will blow by anybody, and he draws a shitload of fouls.
he does. I think for me, from the decision making perspective, I think sometimes he tries to take on a little bit too much himself. I mean, he's incredibly skilled and he can get by a lot of guys, but yeah, I agree that definitely his final pass can be something left to be desired.
Is he capped by Spain?
I'm not
Who?
sure.
Adama Traore? Yeah.
I absolutely don't think. No, he was. Yeah, he was playing with the U21s last year, though.
Okay. Oh my God, my cat just scared me. Sorry. Jesus Christ, you little shit. Okay, so I'm in my living room and I got a window right next to me with the blinds, whatever. And I'm like looking, I'm like scratching my elbow, and she literally just punched me in the side of my face through the screen, through my window. Scared the hell out of me. Where'd she go? She ran off. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over the place. I'm not even helping the conversations here. I've had a rough week.
I know.
Get away from me, you devil cat.
Andres, just real quick. Valencia has 2 of the goals. Vargas has the other one. The first one, Vargas's goal was offside, and just wasn't called by the officials. Not Vargas himself, but the player that ultimately ended up setting it up. That was Quinones. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. 33 on Tigres. How do you pronounce it, Blaze?
Quinones.
But the other 2 were just, I believe, headers or crosses and finished by Valencia. The one was a header and the other one was a cross. I would say poor defending on really all 3 instances by Santos. I mean, you could argue the first one was good defending because the guy was offside, but the other 2 were pretty poor defense. So just a quick recap for Andres there. Thank you, Marcos, for spelling out the for phonetically spelling it out. There we go. Bridger's got his cat.
I'm trying to get her to say something.
He's got the video.
Say something. The Philadelphia Union sucks.
There you go. So if anyone was
say that.
curious about Bridger's cat, there you go. Guys, any hope for Santos here? Any thoughts on their performance in the second half? What are we thinking? Can they get at least 1 goal back?
Shit, if they can get an away goal, I mean, they just need to win the return leg 2-0. I mean, I think if they have any hope of winning the tie overall, they need to score 2 goals in the last half hour because they're definitely not going to shut out Tigres even at home. So if they can make this 3-2 and they can definitely pull a 2-1 in the second leg, but will it happen? Probably not. I can't see them doing this. I mean, Tigres, they're just having fun with them right now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think it's just a matter of time before they get the 4th one, just close up shop.
Drew, what do you think?
Cool.
Ooh. Oh,
Ooh.
almost just made it 4 there. Drew, what do you think?
Sorry, I was distracted by the game going on. What was the question? I apologize.
No worries. Do you think Santos can get back in? I mean, we know that they can get back in it.
Will they
I thought,
get back in it?
I thought
No.
Blaze laid a good scenario out where if they can get it back to 3-2, yeah, I would agree that it could be something. But I just find it tough to see Santos getting 2 more and Tigres not getting another one. This is a really cool tradition. I'm not sure the origin behind it, but where the fans hold up their cell phones and waving back and forth. Anyone know what this is about? I've seen them do it a couple of times.
You
now.
see it at American games quite a bit when they turn off the lights and then everyone would have their phones out. You know,
It's just more of a show of support, from my understanding.
No backstory to it. There's not like I don't know.
I don't believe so, because they do this in South America as well often. More often in South America, they'll have like one of the 10 floodlights go out, and all the fans will light their phones up in that particular section so the game can keep going.
oh, I like that. That's kind of a cool thing.
Question from or Bridger. Any thoughts on if Santos can get back into it?
If they can get a goal or two and go home with an away goal, I think they can help themselves to possibly win 2-0 at home. But I don't think Tigres is gonna let it happen. But Santos is definitely going to be pushing up to try to get a goal because they have to leave here with something. If not, I definitely don't see them in the second leg getting back.
Agreed. Question from Young Threat here. Who do you think is going to ultimately win CCL?
Tigres.
Tigres. The two good.
I think that's who we've always said was going to win it. We haven't changed that idea at all.
Yeah, Drew, did you say Tigres as well?
Yes, Tigres.
All right. Well, just no
Today's
logic.
Tigres.
I'll say Monterrey, just to be slightly contrarian from everybody else. But
Always got to be different.
The final was always going to be Tigres and Rayados in my mind. I never gave anyone else a chance.
I mean,
both of them are too stacked. I mean, people want to say Atlanta, but it just seemed a little off from the beginning. And yeah, as they showed. Let me put it this way: when I saw that they were probably going to face Rayados in the second round, I had to write them off because Rayados is they're just stacked. They bring in a guy like Maxi Meza to their already very deep squad. No way it was
Does
ever
that
going to.
Tigres coach ever smile?
I thought Blaze, on your point, Peter Vermees, head coach of SKC, did an interview this week on the MLS podcast, Extra Time, and he basically framed it in a way that I think MLS fans can understand. Rayados or Monterrey has basically 10 DPs. They have 10 designated players by MLS standards. They have another 5 or 6 TAM level players, and then they have another handful of players making, between $300,000 to $500,000, which is below TAM, but still on the higher end of MLS rosters. So just comparing that to an MLS roster, you can see like why they have a distinct advantage over SKC. Now, having said all that, I'm not ready to write off SKC just yet. Monterrey are the overwhelming favorites, but SKC has proven that they came into the season prepared. They've shown that they can possess the ball under pressure, and they just look like the best MLS side in this competition. So they absolutely deserve to be in the semifinals. And so I'm not ready to write them off just yet, but that's a little, backstory that Vermees was talking about on the MLS podcast that I thought was really interesting and a good way to frame it.
I definitely agree with his standpoint. I don't agree with him coming out and saying that. I mean, shit, that's not going to give your players any sort of confidence boost going into the tie tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, coach.
But Rayados are completely stacked. Yeah, they've had a couple dodgy games lately. I'm gonna bring up this schedule here. Yeah, they had. They're gonna want to prove a point because over the weekend they were playing lowly Cruz Azul and they were up 2-0 very comfortably late. And Cruz Azul has been struggling this season after winning the Copa MX last year. And they give up 2 goals in the final 15. They lost to Jolos. They drew Tigres, so yeah, and then the meaningless 1-0 loss in the second leg to Atlanta. So yeah, their 3-0 win against Atlanta is the last time they won a game. So it's been a month. So they got SKC coming in. They're gonna want to lay the smackdown. There's no doubt about that. And I just don't know if SKC is ready for that type of atmosphere. Is SKC one of the better sides in MLS? Can they win an MLS Cup this season? Absolutely. Do I think they could get 3-0 tomorrow? Absolutely.
I actually think they're less likely to win MLS Cup because I just feel like they're older, and I don't have faith in the to win MLS Cup. I just think you need top level talent, and I don't know if they really have those difference makers, and so I would think they're a little bit better positioned in CCL play just because I don't know with the change in MLS playoff structure to a one-off, maybe it's a little bit different, but I don't know. I just before the season, I had it in my head that they were getting older. They were going to start to have a decline in form because a lot of their core is into their very late 20s and early 30s. And I don't know. MLS is just it's a marathon. It's a war of attrition. And that's why for me, I think that they're going to start off strong. And then, I don't know, maybe it's another Toronto situation, not quite as bad where they'll run out of steam, but I could see a scenario where, they don't win the West. But I don't know. I might be way off on that. And I might just have my SKC bias because of what I thought coming into the season. Also, I'm not particularly fond of them given what they've done to the Union over the years. But I try not to let that come through.
Did you watch them against Montreal this past weekend, though?
Yeah, I know.
They scored a touchdown.
Yes, I did. Montreal also played a role in that. They were not playing any sort of defense.
They're still a professional side.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's why I might be wrong with this take, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
You got to say, Sporting Kansas City, they got one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the league. I mean, Tim Melia is a beast. Shout out Rochester Rhinos, Tim Melia.
Shout out, he was an MLS reject and then gets his big break.
Yeah.
And then
he was rejected by Chivas USA, I think.
Yeah, Christian Nemeth is playing out of his mind. Gerso looks amazing. Johnny Russell, he's still bagging goals. I mean, shit, their front six, front seven in each game, they're so good. And they have done something where I feel like most MLS teams should follow SKC's model. Don't get a couple big name DPs and then have some really shitty meat and potatoes players. They're getting all the TAM money and they're putting out a very good 11, like from top to bottom. And go on.
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement there. I've, anyone who's listened to the podcast or even on these streams, I hammer home the reason Liga MX is so much better than MLS isn't because of the top level players, isn't because of the designated players. MLS has top level talent, just not nearly quite as much. But the reason MLS can't compete is because the middle and bottom half of MLS rosters is so far behind, and that's where TAM is so important. So I'm in complete agreement with you there. I still think one or two real difference makers like Atlanta had is kind of the recipe where you build out a bunch of TAM players, but then you still supplement it with one or two like true difference makers. Whoa, there's some skill from the goalkeeper. Rabona pass down 3-0. Not sure what that was about, but interesting from Santos there.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm writing an article about Aston Villa.
Oh, you're writing about Aston Villa? Drew's a Villa supporter.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks, Bridger. Is Drew still with us?
What are you writing about?
Oh, there you go.
Aston Villa gonna go play against Steve Bruce.
That is correct.
Yeah, a little reunion. So, yeah, John McGinn just had some quotes about it, how it was going to be a little strange.
I think it will be. I think the fans, though, need to be respectful of it. but we'll see how that goes.
Steve Bruce, when I was younger, I thought he was one of those guys that, if he had a couple more results go his way, he could be managing a better side. But here he is managing Sheffield Wednesday. Which, to be fair, Sheffield Wednesday, they're only 4 points behind Villa, even though they're in 11th place. So,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's a really
you throw
tight.
them around.
It's tight from like 11th up, 11th, 12th up. It's real tight.
It's super tight. What do you think about? Are you in fear that Aston Villa's could face a penalty just like Birmingham? They got deducted 9 points for some financial issues. It's not financial fair play. It's an EFL rule that I haven't really looked it up too much. Maybe you would know better than I.
Well, EFL's got a lot of problems. I mean, personally, I don't think they're properly managing these clubs and people just taking ownership, and then they're just I don't think they're actually taking care of the situations as they're coming up, which is making things, I think, progressively worse for the leagues. Because, I mean, they're in trouble. Aston Villa had some poor business decisions that were made. I know that Sunderland, I mean, they had their struggles there. I mean, but they're doing okay because they didn't really deal with the financials so much. Bolton right now, I mean, they're dealing with an owner that just doesn't want to pay anything and just wants to basically fold the club.
He's
at this point,
dry.
Huh?
What happened with that? Last I heard.
Okay, so last thing, there was a wind up. They extended it to April the 15th, but the owner didn't pay the wages. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that's going on. They've really kind of it's not a good situation for Bolton.
So basically, the owner came in. He promised to spend all this money, and he got all these loans from outsiders. And instead of distributing the money and investing his own, he's basically been hoarding all the money to himself. It's definitely criminal.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not good, and he's trying to sell the club now, but I don't. They said that they had a buyer as of the last conversation that they had with the EFL committee, but I don't think they actually had a buyer, and they're just trying to buy time. But come April 15th, if they don't have a buyer or a suitable offer of showing that they're making progress, they may go into administration. Which basically just means that they're basically on their way out, that they may have to create a whole new Bolton in a matter of a few weeks.
Wow.
And if so, then that has a lot of impact on the league because it really changes because they're basically just going to give, I'm pretty sure if they, and I got to understand this part I'm not as sure about, but I think if they do fold, basically they're taking all the points from teams that had played them and just removing them. So like if a team lost, then it has no impact, but if a team won, it has an impact, which I think isn't proper.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. It's crazy actually. This could affect.
So basically, like for like Aston Villa, like they've already played them once and won, and they're gonna lose 3 points. But like say like a team like we'll say like Ipswich, who didn't win at all, they don't lose any points because they didn't play them. So it's like it basically shifts the whole spectrum of like everything.
What are we talking about?
That doesn't make any sense.
No,
I've never heard.
But the problem is like I guess the other thing is how do you make it right? I mean, do you give every other team just a win because they folded? Which at that point then doesn't seem fair to the other teams who already had played. But it's like some teams have only played partial. Yeah, it's a mess.
So Blaze, you're pretty knowledgeable on the European scene. This happened with I think it was Parma a couple years ago. It was one of the Serie A squads in Italy where it was like 4 matches to go. They went bankrupt and they didn't play their last few games. What happened with that? They didn't give points back or take points away from other.
No, so that happened after the season. They were relegated from Serie A to Serie D.
No, there was still a couple matches. Like I distinctly remember there was 3 matches left, and they just didn't play them.
They just didn't play them.
Yeah. They didn't play them, and Actually, it's crazy. I'm a Mets fan, and Mike Piazza was attempting to save the club.
No, that's a Piazza's a different team.
Well, he ended up with Reggiana, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
he
ended
tanked
up with
Reggiana.
Reggiana, but he wanted to buy Parma.
Yeah.
But yeah, they officially bankrupted after the season. Let me go back. Yeah.
Well, I feel like if there's 3 games left, they would just consider those forfeits, and the people would get the points for it.
But exactly.
Right, but then the problem is then they're arguing. What they're arguing is then that like that's not a fair. That's not a fair.
What are we
shake to other
What
teams.
were we talking about? I missed out on what. I kind of
Sorry,
Bolton. Middle of this.
Bolton basically could fold within the next couple of weeks, depending on how the situation.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn, that was like I used to watch them a bunch, man. Back when Tim Ream was there.
Steve Sidwell, man.
Stuart Holden, I think.
Stu Holden.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Stu Holden. I forgot about that.
I don't think Ream was a
Tim Ream wasn't there
Oh,
until.
yeah, no, he was.
later.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he left New York Red Bulls for Bolton, and then they got relegated. And then, for one, they sold Gary Cahill, and then they got relegated. And then Tim Ream stayed with him, and that's where he went to Fulham after Bolton.
Okay, so Parma did finish the season. They've played every match.
Oh,
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, when I heard about this whole Bolton situation, I've never heard about that. And I saw a table. This was about 3 weeks ago and some teams could move like 5 different places, and they could. I forget who it was, but one team could go from very comfortably safe to I think 1 or 2 points at the time off the drop. So
they're probably like, go down, fold. We hate Bolton. Wait, how would that work though? Did they lose both games? And then
quick update though, Bolton is actually been given an extension until May 8th, which I think, if I remember correctly, is the last week of the championship. So I think they've finally thought it through and have extended their time. But let me double check that.
Well, yeah, the longer they keep playing and not paying their bills, it's the more money they get out of it.
Well, they're not getting anything out of it.
Technically, you're right. Well, I'm saying
the last week is May 5th, so that would be after the season's over. So, but yeah, it's basically it's called a winding up order, is what they're dealing with.
Oh wow.
Which
pretty much just sounds like we're getting all your shit out.
It's basically bankruptcy.
It's basically bankruptcy. So the current owner is supposedly got a buyer in place, but if they have no proof come the end of the season, it could very well just be Bolton is no more, and they have to rebuild from, I think, the 5th division, 6th division, one of the two.
Well, they have to go down as amateur or semi-pro for one, so it's one of those. They wouldn't be in League 4. Or sorry, it's called.
It would
League
be
2.
like National League.
Vanorama,
North South, I think, is where they would start at 6th.
Santos with a great chance there, and yet another great save by the Tigres keeper. That would have made things interesting over the 2 legs, but still 3-0 Tigres, and Santos needs to get one if they want to make this.
Speaking of
the second,
Bolton's been on this game. I mean, he's only had to make 3 saves, but each of those saves have been pretty damn good saves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Bolton, can anyone tell me the name of the goalkeeper that scored on them last time they were in the Prem?
Tim Howard.
Hey, yeah.
Still got the longest goal in Premier League history.
And they won that game 1-0.
Yep.
That was the shittiest part about it. Is that it fucking won them the game
early.
Yeah, and it was all the wind. He just it was just a pass back, and he just pumped it up, and it just bounced over Bogdan.
Pump it up.
Yeah,
and I was watching that too, and I was like, "Holy shit, this game's gonna be amazing!" 9 minutes later, I was like, "Well, that sucked."
I actually remember watching that game. It was on Fox when they.
It was like a big game because of Tim Howard. Dude, that's why I told you I used to be an Everton fan because they used to always play those games. And dude, I was just like, man, that was dope. I love Tim Howard. Man. He's amazing.
Did your voice change that much over the years?
It literally,
Always.
that's exactly what I said. It actually went higher. My voice went higher. Dude, I can't even. I remember finding like old videos of me like saying stupid shit, and also it's like some soccer videos. They're like, "Hey, mom," like on the sideline and shit. I'm like, "Oh my god, I sound like a girl." But then I hear some of my coaching
we
stuff
all
and
did,
videos.
man.
I hear some of my like my voice in like some of the videos we taped for the high school team. I'll hear myself in the background, and I'm like, "Damn, I sound like a chick." Like when I'm like dry throat and I'm yelling at girls from across the field, it gets really bitchy. Oh yeah, by the way, hire me because I'm not a sexist pig. Oh man. So if you don't hear from me for a while, I'm probably in the deal like in the middle of moving. So
To Tahiti.
fuck it, should I do it? Wouldn't that'd be a cool like I document like everything for like a year, and then like I'd have to be like training every day. I'd have to change everything, get used to have to learn the language.
Used to the humidity.
Yeah, that would be the toughest part. Well,
You gotta get
not only do I
fired.
need to lose like 50 pounds, but the humidity, yeah. And I gotta find a passport, and I gotta find a place to live and a job. I probably have to work at like a dock or something, like a tuna factory or something in there.
Or just get a remote gig. That works too.
There you go.
A what?
A remote job, like teach English.
Yeah.
There's a
Dude,
lot.
I barely know English.
Yeah,
The homework would be like actual. It wouldn't even be actual English. It'd be slang American.
no, like who we had him on, Drew Pels. You've probably seen his podcast and whatnot if you follow us on Twitter, but he's got a podcast as well, but he lives in China. He teaches English, but he doesn't speak Chinese.
Well, those countries, they tend to teach the bilingual super early. Like if you go anywhere over Europe, most of the kids know English.
South
Or,
America
like,
as well.
Some of them, most of them know another language.
So we're just saying you have choices, Bridger.
Also, you got to remember that if you make $10 an hour online, if you go to another country where that's the exchange rate's in your favor, that's good money.
Mm.
Like,
Oh yeah,
if you go to-
speaking of all this, guys, I found the stuff for the American Samoan League.
Yeah,
The-
did you post it? You posted it in here,
I
right?
posted a video of the Oceanic Champions League, Pago Youth versus somebody, and then I posted the link to the trailer for that documentary.
Got it.
It's a really, really inspiring one. But anyway, I found that team that I was talking about, FCSKBC, Samoa Korean Baptist Church Football Club.
Interesting. There you go.
They are in the FFAS Senior League, which is the Football Federation American Samoa Soccer League or Senior League. It is an amateur league, and Pago Youth are the current champions, and they've won it 7 times since 1976.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go for everyone that was wondering that.
Anyone that gives a shit,
Yeah.
American Samoa does have a league.
Another fantastic save by the Tigres keeper a minute ago. Couple questions here. Yeah, that was a fantastic shot. Excellent save by the keeper. What do you think about the Bonucci comments about Keane?
Okay.
Scumbaggage. Typical
Italian.
not typical Italian, but typical lack of awareness in that part of Europe. People forget that, Italy, a lot of Italy is pretty much Eastern Europe, which still has like second world and backwards views.
That's what I was saying when I said Italy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna generalize, but at least the internet gave him what he deserved. Moise Kean was, if that shit happens to you and you score you got the right to do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not re-offending anybody else. And he's 19, but he's a top professional in that moment. I
didn't see what happened. What exactly did he do? I knew he scored, and then I knew he got some racist stuff happened to him. But what happened officially that made them go like?
He was booed and jeered, and people were making monkey noises the entire game. And Moise Kean, he earned a start not only because they're full of injuries, but he had scored in the last 3 games
and internationally, right?
Yes,
for the national Italy.
So he ends up scoring close to the end of the game. I think it was the 85th minute, which put the game out of reach to make it 2-0. And it was right in front of the Cagliari supporter section. And all he does is he stares them down. He widens his arms, and just gives them the old stare down. And it was brilliant. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I didn't.
You should have done. I'm sorry, but like, if you're like saying racist shit to me, like while I'm playing, like I know a lot of people like they want you to, like some people have said if I hear racist comments, I'm gonna take them off the field, But the only reason why I would rather you play out the game, and then I'd rather you show them like that shit, like he scored. That's more of a kick in the face than you guys getting off the field and walking off. But I understand both sides. I mean, I'm not saying racism is good or that you should ignore it or anything. But I'm just saying that like it makes me happier to see him score and kind of say a little "fuck you" like that. That just makes me feel better there.
But Bonucci claimed that Moise Kean was 50-50 to blame.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was bullshit. That was stupid.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, how are you gonna be an aging veteran and throw your 19-year-old black striker under the bus like that? Like, what the fuck kind of leader are you? That's garbage. That's such a garbage take.
I'm gonna be the one guy that actually says that Bonucci was not in total wrong there. I think it was just poor choice of words.
Really?
I mean, he did nothing.
Hold on. Let me just explain that, because I think what Bonucci is just trying to say is, and again, this is coming from someone who is not African American and has not experienced this, so his statement is definitely coming from someone who has not experienced any of this. But he is basically stating that, look, in the game, you celebrate with your team and you let the fans know by celebrating as a group how important the goal was. Not aggressively going after the fans who have been provoking you all game with hold on a second, with those kind of chants to try and provoke it even further and cause more of a problem. Because I mean, it is true. Like, let's be real. If you're in a district, like a district tournament when you were in high school or whatever, and you were playing against your rival club, and you scored something or something happened, and the fans went nuts in front of you, the other fan base, stuff started to happen and things got out of hand. So I understand where he is coming from in the fact that, okay, it's a 50-50 situation. Like, you shouldn't do it, but I understand why you did it. Like, it's not the best thing to do in the context of what's going on, because they're trying to keep the peace. But he also has any right that he wants to go up there and say, look, just because I'm African American doesn't mean I can't score, and I'm going to show my pride about it. So like, that's where I think
he's himself after taking nothing but abuse. He didn't do anything to egg him on.
I know, but I understand that. But when you walk up to a fan base and then just basically stand in front of them and just say, look at me, like, you are provoking something. I mean, now, I'm not saying
if you're Bonucci, you also have to stand up for your fucking teammate.
I understand that. I understand that, but he also has to. But at his point of view is that he also is a leader on this team and can't just just jump right onto any ship and just ride it. I mean, he has to protect both himself, the club, and everyone else, because he is a leader. So I mean, he has to basically say, like, look, it was and wasn't right. I mean, that's what he said. He said it was 50-50. 50-50. He didn't take a stance. He didn't take a stance because, I mean,
in my opinion, I mean, for him to take a stance, it either puts him in bad light or it puts him in bad light. I mean, either way, it puts him in the bad light because if it's the fans or if it's other people who are dealing with that, they don't like it. And if you stand up for your teammate, it doesn't look like you're standing up for racism necessarily. It just looks like you're standing for your teammate. It's not.
He doesn't even have to bring it up. Nobody's forcing him to bring it up, so why even talk about it?
Wait, so I don't understand.
He was brought that up in a conversation, though. That was a question directed at him about what was going on with the goal.
Yeah, they asked him about it.
They asked him about it, and he stated how he felt about the situation. I'm sorry. Look. I'm not saying like he is like. I'm not trying to defend him and say like, look, like what he did is right, but I'm saying I understand where his mindset was at that point, and I think it was taken out of context to some extent. Was it the right thing to say? No. Was it something that he was trying to say to keep some sort of peace in the conversation? Yeah. I think that's what it was. I think he didn't want to provoke it any further. Now, granted, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, I mean, in other games, I'm sure he celebrated in front of the opposing fans and taunted and did his own shit. But at the same time, like I also understand where he's trying to come from.
So the only thing I agree with there is that a lot of times quotes can be taken out of context. So I don't have the full background here. When you read it in the way that a lot of people are reporting it on social media, it does not look good in any way for Bonucci from my perspective. I can't say I agree with a lot of what you said, Drew, but I mean you're entitled to your opinion, and I can.
What do you not have like in agreement with?
Again, from what I understood from what you're saying is that Bonucci was right in saying that Moise Kean played a role in everything that happened. And so for me, I don't think Moise, however he wants to respond to racism is how he can respond to it. I've never experienced it, so I can't tell anyone else how to act and whatnot, but I don't think there's any way he was in the wrong. I also don't think, I agree with what Blaze, I mean, Bonucci should come to the defense of his player rather than trying to placate the racist fans from Cagliari. So that's just where I stand. Now, again, I don't have the full quote and understand the full context. So I agree with you there that maybe we're taking things out of context, which happens very often with the internet and social media and things traveling so quickly. So
here, I can give you a quick like checkup of it. So basically, both Allegri and Bonucci said stuff, but Allegri said he shouldn't have celebrated in that manner. He is a young man and he has to learn, but certain things from the crowd also shouldn't be heard. So that's the full statement. And then Bonucci then said, you celebrate goals with your teammates. He could have done it differently. I think the blame is 50-50. Moyes should not have done that, and the Correa fans should not have reacted in that way. So, again, like the part that they're taking out of context is they just say, I think the blame is 50-50. If you read the second statement, he's basically just saying, like, you should celebrate with your teammates. Like, you know, like Sterling can go ahead. I mean, like if you look at Sterling, like, yeah, he celebrates in front of them and lets them know, like, yeah, I scored. But then he comes back and celebrates with his teammates, which essentially is what Bonucci is saying. Like, go ahead, go and celebrate, show them that you are better. But at the end of the day, you also should be celebrating with your teammates because we're the family that you should be looking at towards for the help and the assistance, and not trying to take it into your own hands, because it's Say No to Racism is a group effort throughout all of the professional sports. It's not just one man trying to run it all.
He didn't make any gestures. He didn't run at the crowd. All he did was stand there. And oftentimes we see soccer players just stand there with their arms out, and then another player comes in and jumps on their back. So
but if you rewatch the replay, he went specifically to a specific location to do that.
He was already there though when he scored.
Exactly.
Right, but he made it a priority to make sure that he focused on celebrating right in front of them to show it.
I mean,
no, hold on.
In my mind, I think he should have. I mean, that's just me.
And I'm okay with him going out and celebrating like that because, I mean, he should. I mean, he scored a goal and he's proving to them that he is a good player who deserves it and not deserving of getting any of that flack for racist remarks or racist jeers, whatever it was. I mean, I don't have any information on like what was said or done, but I also understand where Bonucci's coming from, where it's like, okay, we're a team, let's celebrate as a team, and anything that's off on the field, things like that, that'll be addressed or should be addressed. I guess I'll put it that way. Should be addressed by clubs, should be addressed by the federation, should be addressed by more and more things to get that stuff squared away at. That's the way I look at it. And I understand because they're professionals. I mean, they have to act like professionals. I'm looking at it from that perspective. I'm not saying
more
like
important than being a professional, though. This is a 19-year-old black man who has been just harassed constantly in unacceptable manners for almost 2 hours, and he can't have 5 seconds to be like, "Hey, I'm not gonna take this shit. It's the play on the field that matters. I scored. I beat your team. Suck it. Moving on to the next game." He did nothing violent. He did nothing that would quote escalate the situation. That's a typical goal situation. But he's also making a statement that I'm not going to take this shit from you. I'm going to stay focused and I'm going to keep playing my game, which is exactly what he did. And that's more professional than anything. He doesn't need to celebrate with his team. The team came to him
and they should have all stood there with him. Honestly,
All right, let's put a
okay.
Or just
how much longer does this have to keep happening in Italian football before FIFA finally does something?
Well, again, to reiterate, I'm not here trying to say that the racist remarks were okay or that the way that he handled the situation was poor. I'm just saying, if I'm Bonucci, I understand where he's coming from in terms of how he approached the situation. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I am going to be the guy that's going to sit here and play a little bit of devil's advocate because, I mean, you have to understand that Bonucci is also white. He also has no idea what's going on in that kid's life and how those things are handled if you are an African American. So he is trying to, I think, just trying to state it in the best way possible. And yeah, you could go up there and just say, look, like say no to racism, whatever, and blah, 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 blah. And but he doesn't have anything to relate to. He has never dealt with it before.
He's going to be 32. He's been a professional footballer for 15 years. He's had black teammates. He's had his whole career in Italy. He knows this issue. Right. And to say that it's 50-50, that's a fucking joke. I don't care who you are. To say that Keane played half the role in getting, jeered at all game, like, no way. No way.
It reminds me of the Mario Balotelli situation.
The way I look at it is like in any person, whether or not you're whatever race, religion, color, creed, sexual orientation, whatever it is, if at any time you go and try and celebrate in front of a team to ramp up the crowd and piss them off, you're trying to provoke shit.
I think you're thinking of like the what is it, Adebayor situation when he did that to Chelsea fans. That's
definitely a great scenario. When
that wasn't race.
That was when he was
Spurs.
Was it Spurs, and then he ran all the way back to Arsenal fans to celebrate and taunt in front of them. Like, that
wasn't race. That was
all right.
But that wasn't race
makes
related.
More sense when you talk about provoking. I just didn't think
and that's more along the context of what he was. That's where Bonucci is coming from, is the provoking of it. Yeah, I mean he dealt with that shit for 79 minutes before scoring that goal, or how many minutes it was before he scored that goal, and had every right to walk up and celebrate and be like, yeah, I just did that shit. And he can do that. I have no problem with that. What I'm saying is that with that all going on, it probably would have been better to run and do that in front of your own fans than to try and run in front of the Calgary fans and say, fuck you, and expect not more of an issue to escalate from where it was, because it was already escalated, and then to run in front of it is just going to escalate it more because those fans don't give two shits.
All right, at this point, I don't think anybody's changing their viewpoints. I think we've all said. Let's get back to the CONCACAF Champions League. Match ended 3-0. Tigres winning 3-0. at the end, we saw the Santos manager freaking out, yelling at the linesman
Got
about
a yellow card.
guys getting a yellow card. Bridger, what were your thoughts on the match? Put a
I will say it started off really, really good, and then that second half was very boring. I mean, we didn't even talk at all about it. I mean, it was just one of those halves where it looked like not Santos. There was a couple good shots, couple good chances for Santos to get a goal, but the Tigres goalie was really, really good. He played a really, really good half, and the game kind of Tigres looked like they just wanted to control the game, get out with a 3-0 win. They didn't really look like they wanted to get another one. They had another chance there to score towards the end, but it just barely went a couple inches away from going top corner. But other than that, dominant game by Tigres, and Santos weren't unable to get anything to go home with. So I think Tigres is going to win it as well the second round. So,
Blaze, final thoughts on the match?
I mean, top to bottom, aside from a couple moments, Tigres were by far the better team. They could have easily won this 5-0. Guzman, the goalkeeper, he was on top of his shit. They just booked their place in the final. No question.
yeah.
Drew, final thoughts on the match?
It's gonna be Tigres in the final for sure.
Yeah, Bridger, I thought you recapped things pretty well. I don't really have too much else to say. If Santos could have gotten one goal, would have made things interesting, but overall, just Tigres, too much firepower. We're going to try this again tomorrow. Hopefully, Drew, Blaze, and Bridger, you guys are around tomorrow night as well, but we're going to do it for the Monterey SKC game. Hopefully, that's a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, and more interesting. But thank you, everybody, for being here, interacting with us, sending in your questions and whatnot. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. See you guys.
Take care, man.